Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's ya boy, Jay-Z. You know how it is, you know the deal. Hello, welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome for the first time. Before we begin the video, I would like to remind everybody that I have links in the description below. Links for my Instagram, my website, and my comic book, which I'm gonna be lining in this video today. By the time this video comes up, my comic is still gonna be closed for renovations, so what I have up looks really nothing like what I'm doing right here, right now. But if you want to read it, go ahead. Like, the story is gonna be the same, it's just I'm giving it a different feel now. But yeah, it's the same story, different art, because I evolved. Today, that's what I'm gonna be talking about. I'm gonna be talking about my comic and what inspired me to begin illustrating it. So Rise of Omega is a comic that I started working on 10 years ago when I was in high school. One day I was bored during honors history class. I think it was honors US history class. Oh my god, it was my junior year. It was the first class of the day and I hated it. Oh god, I fucking hated it so much. I still have PTSD from it. So I asked my friends, I was like, if you could have any superpower, what would you have? And they gave me their answers and I was like, okay, cool, whatever. I jotted them down in a notebook, and then I asked my other friends during lunch period. I was like, what superpowers would you like to have? And they told me, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start drawing y'all in superhero costume and using your powers to see what comes up, because I'm bored. I would sketch them in corners of notebooks and I would like doodle around or whatever, put them in like in the margins of my notes, which I still have. I still have all those notebooks, and maybe someday I can show that off to everybody. I like to revisit those doodles and sketches since like a lot of the lore and the story and the mythos of Rise of Omega is in there, from like specific locations and info on the characters, names, concept art, and a lot of storylines is written on there. So I started like showing my friends these drawings. I'm like, here, I fucking drew you as a superhero, whatever. And they were getting all excited, like, oh, this is so cool, you should make it into an actual comic. What the fuck, my voice cracked. And they were like, yeah, you should make it into an actual comic, we would love to read it. And from there it just became a bigger thing. The comic was originally called Biohazard because I thought it was funny to call it that, since in the beginning of the comic, people with superpowers are labeled as biohazardous, and it would be a way for my heroes to be like, well, fuck you, we're reclaiming that name and we're gonna be Biohazard and we're gonna save your ass and protect you, bitch. So like writing it, I realized that it would be an inside joke for a while and no one would get it except me, and then once the joke was explained, it would have served its purpose and become useless. And that's why I changed it to Rise of Omega, because it sounds more badass and serves a better purpose to the story, in my opinion. Like, I really do think it serves a better purpose than fucking Biohazard. Anyway, so the comic has a cast of 30 characters that come in and out of the story, and 12 of them are based on my friends and myself. In earlier drafts, the characters were my actual real life friends and myself in a parallel universe where we got superpowers and we had to deal with everyday life having them. I remember the earliest draft of the story was us fighting evil high school teachers, which eventually became the prototypes for the villains of the story later on. This was working for a while until I decided that the story felt really forced and true to life, and I didn't want my friends getting mad at me if I wrote something in the comic or killed them off or whatever. You know how it is. Also, my character, which is John, felt a lot like wish fulfillment, and I was getting really grossed out by it. So I scrapped the entire story and started a new one with the same characters, but I changed their names to sound similar to my friends' names and let them keep my friends' real birthdays, sort of like a thank you for inspiring me type of thing. I didn't want my characters doing the things my friends and I would do, I wanted them to make their own choices and make their own decisions. I felt like I was relying too much on real life and the story was suffering because of it. I was also very hyper aware of how my friends would act, so their characters would stay true to them. It was exhausting. I was like, okay, this person said this, and this person has these mannerisms, and they speak this way, and they like this, but it was too much. It felt like I was being too contrived by real life, and it was just stifling the creative process. So I ended up aging everyone up by like 4 years. So they went from being 16 to being in their early 20s. And I started writing new drafts of the story, but I didn't know where to begin or how to create a narrative that didn't feel boring with tons of downtime or exposition in the beginning, like most stories usually do. I decided to start my story from John's side since his storyline will take him places outside of Earth, so making him the main character was a very easy decision. Pretty much, I just started creating stories that could start with him. I don't remember why I moved the story to Hawaii. Like, I'm trying my best to remember, but I just don't know the reason why. I guess I just wanted to draw lots of tropical backgrounds on the ocean. I don't know. Oh no, wait. Oh, okay. I just remember. I just remembered. I moved them there because of something that happens later on in the comic. I don't know if I should mention it and spoil it, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's something that happens later on in the story, and yes, I just remembered. Yes, so yeah, there's a reason why the story begins in Hawaii. So yeah, I started writing introductions to the story, but nothing seemed to fit. In the beginning, John and Michael, which are these two characters I'm sketching in these pages, were fire dancers, and that felt too much on the nose for me, so I got rid of it. Then I made them bartenders, but that just did not feel right, and I was like, I feel like I'm just writing a really edgy character for no reason, so I got rid of that as well. And that was something that was like, it kept happening. Nothing fit, and I would write and illustrate all the way to chapter 3 or 4, and then not feel okay with the direction, and I would just have to start all over again. In the beginning, that was very discouraging, but eventually I arrived somewhere I was happy with, which is the story I am working on now. This is what I call the real narrative, the real story. I realized I didn't have to make John and Michael be together all the time, and I could let them have their separate lives away from each other and still convey a sense of friendship and brotherhood between the two of them. And after doing that, it helped so much getting a story that felt organic and cool, rather than something that is like, oh yeah, we're buddies and we're friends and we are going to support each other for everything, blah blah blah, like, which is something that you see a lot in like manga, and sometimes it's really annoying. It gets tedious and exhausting sometimes. I realized that failing that many times really prepared me for the future of making this comic. Like, you become more used to failing, and it is through that process of failure that you discover what works and what doesn't work, especially when you are self-teaching yourself how to make comics and how to make a visual narrative. It's very helpful to not succeed in the beginning. If I had not failed that many times, I don't think my story would have developed into something that is well-rounded, and I wouldn't have given the small details as much thought as I do now. I really love making sequential art. This is my main driving force to making comics, I think, is that I really like movies and animation, but I am not a cinematographer, and animation is just a lot of fucking work, and comics is just the next best thing. You get to play around with lighting and camera angles, and then you put the images together in your head and you create kind of like a moving picture or a scene, and you get to follow action with it. I just really enjoy making expressions on the characters' faces and creating environments to place the scenes in. Comics are a great visual medium, and they combine storytelling techniques from both written and visual media, and they put it all in this really nice little package, and I don't know what else to say. Like, comics are fucking dope, and They're fucking cool. I don't see myself doing anything else but comics. Even if they don't pay my bills right now, or if they take a million years to make, I don't think I'll ever stop making them. I really enjoy doing this with my life, and even if it isn't full time, this is probably the only thing I will be doing for the rest of my life. Like, this will be the only constant. I always encourage everyone who wants to make comics to go to a comic store and pick up a comic and buy it if they can, and just read it, just go through it and learn from it. Like, seeing comics online is convenient, but there is something only printed comics give you. You can see the flow of a page better and see how things play out. Don't ever think that you can't make comics, because you really can. Like, anyone with sufficient artistic skills, even if you're not like a fucking pro, all these things you can learn, and you just have to put in time. It's hard work, but you can do it. Put in the work, do your homework, and keep pushing them out. I'm really happy to be doing this. For a while it was very hard. Like, I didn't feel that I was doing the most with it. I didn't feel like my skill level was high enough, and that really put me down. If you are a beginner comic maker, you probably will feel this way as well. But it's just a matter of changing that mindset that, yeah, you're not gonna be perfect at everything, but you could be. You just have to work hard and be better than you were yesterday. Do your homework. I already said that, but like, I can't stress it enough. You have to do your homework, and you can't sit there and be like, oh, woo woo, like, I'm so bad at it, nobody's reading my things. Like, it doesn't matter if nobody's reading your things. People will come. Eventually they will come. You just have to put out good work, quality work, and keep pushing it out. Do whatever you have to push that good work out. Nobody's gonna gravitate to something that is not good, or something that doesn't have any passion in it. I've realized that people, like audiences, are really attuned to that. They can smell the bullshit from miles away, and it is up to you to spray that bullshit with Febreze or something, make it smell nice for them. Bring them over. They want to be entertained, and you are supposed to provide that to them. If you have a passion, you can do it. That's pretty much it. Put in your work, try to be the best you can be, and keep pushing it out. There's nothing else I can say. Like, this whole comic started from a little tiny conversation I had with my friends, and granted, it took like 10 years for me to write a good story, for me to develop characters that I'm happy with, and for me to start illustrating it. Here I am, just like, kind of like just starting, but it took that whole decade to get me to where I am now. If you work every day at this, you will get to where you want to be. Like, just work on it every day and put in your work, and never ever put yourself down about it. Things take time. You can't just expect to hit popularity the moment you start posting your comic. It doesn't work that way. Just keep yourself motivated and keep yourself focused on what you want to do. Always look at the bigger picture. Don't worry about what's happening now. Worry about what's gonna happen in the future. Like, always play for the long game. Never play for now. Play for tomorrow. Play for a month from now. Play from a year from now. Play for 10 years from now. Eventually it's gonna happen. Get into a routine and get passionate about it. There's nothing else I can say. Be focused, be motivated, and be passionate. That's it. Those are the 3 things that got me into comics, pretty much. I think that's it for this video. If there's anything else you would like to know, just leave it down in the comment section below, and I'll make a video about it. I'll respond to it in the comments. Remember to subscribe and like the video, and if you want to be real cute, you can always report me and flag me and give me a thumbs down. Go on and do it. I know you want to report me and flag me and give me a thumbs down and leave me a mean comment. I see you, Stephanie, hating on me out there. Yeah, Stephanie, you hater. Right now there's one Stephanie watching this video going, oh my god. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I put out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday of every week of every month all year long. Remember to check out the links in the description below. My name is JC and I am out this gig. Bye!